So let's talk about the financial death trap. We get it. You're drowning in the U.S. It's expensive. We know. Rent is up, especially in the major cities. Some groceries have gone to the moon. Maybe you're even paying off some debt, and you feel like you're just one medical bill away from the street. And so, what happens? You watch some move abroad videos about how you can live like a king in Thailand or Montenegro for $1,000 a month, and you automatically think it's going to be your financial escape route. Not so fast. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. If you're flat broke in America, moving abroad isn't a solution. It's a financial death trap. Today, I'm going to tell you why your problems are about to get 10 times more expensive. Thanks for coming to our Retire Early lifestyle. Many in this space say the math doesn't add up living in the U.S. The math abroad, it won't add up either, folks. Cheaper rent doesn't account for being charged 3 times the local price for everything, and the fact is, you'll be overpaying on your rent by local standards, and that is the camel's nose in your tent. In our 13 years of foreign living, we have found that moving abroad is not the long-term solution to your financial troubles in the U.S., and the reason is simple. These cheaper countries, not only do they not stay cheap, but are also not as up-to-date as where you're coming from. For example, if you're looking at your bank account in the U.S. and thinking, I'm just going to move to Thailand where it's cheap, you're walking into a financial death trap. We know the seascapes are absolutely stunning. We've seen them. We know. But the infrastructure and the manana attitude gets some getting used to say the least. Oh, you thought manana was only in Latin America? Oh, no. If we bring our Americanized way of doing things, well then these cheaper, slower countries such as Croatia or Cambodia may irritate the heck out of some people, especially you big city slickers that are used to having things done now. And not only city slickers, but it appears the Rams are now targeting younger folks that are still in their working years to their live abroad, one-size-fits-all solution for all their problems. One of our viewers said it well in this comment. I don't think Americans should be encouraging one another to move abroad. We have a way of ruining things when we settle in an area in numbers, because of our general incompetence when it comes to learning foreign languages and cultures, and our tendency to Karen out at the slightest inconveniences. You either learn to adapt or tuck your tail and run home. That's funny. You want to know the best way to adapt to any new culture? Well, it's not living in the tourist areas or the expat enclaves. It's moving away from the English speakers and learning the language so you can get by on the local pricing rather than the English speaking pricing, and literally become at one with the community. That's how you're going to adapt. Now, I know it's easier said than done when you're not originally a native, but let us show you a few examples right now about what we're talking about. In Thailand, sure, everyone talks about the $2 pad Thai, but there's a hidden ledger in Thailand. What about the entry fee? In Thailand, you have to factor in the visa-run reality, okay? Between agency fees, travel to the border, and those unexpected processing tips, which is really just hidden corruption, you can easily add on hundreds, if not thousands, to your annual budget. It's a reoccurring cost that many broke expats ignore until their bank account hits zero. Now, some of you might be thinking, why not just get a residency visa then? Well, that's where the promoters really start spinning the fairy tale soup. If you're moving abroad because you're broke in America, moving to a cheap country like Thailand is not the panacea you were led to believe. Just giving you a dose of reality here, folks. The Thais encourage wealthier people to move to their country all the time, and the financial thresholds keep going higher and higher. They don't tell you that digital nomad visa residency often requires a $15,000 donation or proof of a bank account that most budget expats can only dream of. To qualify for the Thailand digital nomad visa, applicants must provide financial evidence of approximately $14,500 in savings, and this account must be held for at least 90 consecutive days prior to the application. The 5-year elite visa costs $19,000 that you pay out of pocket for the privilege of living in Thailand for 5 years. $19,000 and you get 5 years in Thailand. And you gotta love the name Elite Visa. You get privileges. So you're trapped. You're too broke for residency, but too deep in the dream to stop the visa runs. It's a cycle designed to drain you. Welcome to the Asian visa runs. At least in America, you still have control over your expenses, while abroad, the locals have all the control. Think about that. You are at the mercy of spiraling prices driven by relentless promotion and price gouging by the locals that see you as an easy mark. That's a double whammy, which has cut many an expat sojourn shorter than they had thought. You probably haven't experienced this like we have, so we have to tell you that the rate of increase is much faster and deeper than the actual inflation in the USA. Yes, it's true, and the prices don't stop at the US price level either. They can and usually go even higher than what you can do in many lower cost of living areas right here in the USA. That's a sobering thought, isn't it? Well, wait a minute, we hear you saying. Do you mean that I would just move to a lower cost of living area in USA and do just as well? Our answer is a resounding yes, and dare we say you will be a much happier camper. Hear the voice of 15 years of experience telling it like it is. If we don't show you the reality, you won't get it anywhere else. Being broke in America is the least of your worries, because when you move abroad to a so-called cheaper country, you could be heading into a financial death trap. Just ask some of the other expats that had to move from Thailand and left broke. It's real. They had to leave Thailand. Moving over to the Adriatic Sea, we know places like Montenegro and Croatia are stunning, but they have a split personality, and it has nothing to do with the city with that name. There's local pricing, and then there's tourist seasonal pricing. If you're budgeting based on a visit in October, you're in for a shock in July when everything from groceries to rent can double. So make sure you take that into account when you do the move abroad math. And then there's the big one, energy. These beautiful stone buildings are gorgeous, but they are literal ice boxes in winter and ovens in the summer. High energy costs here are the silent budget killer that expats never factor in until that first $300 to $500 electricity bill hits the mat in the winter. Okay, look. The short of it is, these cheaper countries only work for the first couple of years. Once the nomads and the higher level retirees get a hold of it, the prices double and triple. But the YouTubers are still pushing the cheap card to make you feel better about moving there. We call that Deception 101. But of course, there is always someone on the sidelines ready to show you the actual costs of a place, and we appreciate that. Monthly budget summary and what you'll actually need to live in Montenegro. Here we go. It's for the comfortable lifestyle. And here it is. We're looking at $2,200 to $3,500 for a single person living in Montenegro. Just a quick note, do you know the difference between budget and comfortable lifestyle in a developing country? It's big, folks. Here's what we know from living abroad for 13 years. Budget and possibly mid-range costs will not provide you with the standard of living that you are already used to in the States. Okay? You also will need to take into account the location, size of apartment, services, and shopping nearby, and many other aspects of the kind of lifestyle that you're coming from. And another fact you should know is a comfortable lifestyle does not mean luxurious either. It's simply a middle-class lifestyle, okay? That's what you're paying for, and that's what you get. And did you notice how the comfortable column is dangerously close to U.S. prices, except for maybe the highest cost of living big cities in America? You can still get decent rentals in America in lower cost of living areas for around $1,000. Wow! So do you notice something missing on this cost of living chart? Healthcare costs. So be sure to add in the $84 into your budget every month for your private healthcare, which is mandatory. Have you ever heard of the gringo tax? I hate being treated like a constant ATM and charged 3 times pricing to the locals. Also, personal security and scams abroad. It's no way to live. The USA is just fine for me. Here's the top 4 ways supposed rich Americans are gouged abroad and on a consistent basis. What I'm showing you is the perpetual gouge. So you need to add this into your math numbers before you move abroad. We talk about Ecuador as an example because we lived there for 8 years. However, we've also spent considerable time in other destinations. Here we go. Long-term rentals can be a double or triple markup for foreigners. For example, landlords in Ecuador loved to use the term American kitchen, and that's going to cost you. So will first floor bedroom suites, views, and living in expat neighborhoods. So when you're paying $500 to $700 for a budget apartment in a cheap country like Montenegro, the local price is like $350. But since foreigners have been arriving in large numbers, the rents have suddenly doubled in just a few years. This affects your ongoing relationship with your money and your expenses in a foreign locale. Number 2, transportation. Taxis can be a 100% markup and more for foreigners. For example, when we lived in Cuenca, we knew that a ride to downtown was $2 to $2.50. But some drivers would try and get $5 to $7, and they frequently did from the new arrivals. The Cuenca taxis now have meters because of all the gouging complaints they were getting from expats. Number 3, mercados. No prices on anything in the mercados in Ecuador. And the food at the mercado, it got more expensive than the regular grocery stores because gringos were giving tours to tourists at the mercado. It was a clown show. As much as we like giving business to the locals, we had to quit going to the local mercados and shop at the regular grocery store. Number 4, grocery stores. American brands cost double and triple. Your best bet is to find the local brands of your favorite foods and then go with those, or your grocery bill is going to be the same as in the USA or higher. Even natural peanut butter was $11 when we were living in Ecuador. We're getting it here for just $4, and that's 12 years later, okay? We're getting it for $4 now. So it's inevitable you're going to get gringoed, and you'll realize real soon that this cheap country you moved to just to save money is not as cheap as it first appeared. And it only gets more expensive as time goes on, because ultimately you're not escaping rising prices as much as the folklore in this space would like for you to believe. This is a 100% certainty, as we've had the opportunity to discuss these subjects with many move-abroad expats face to face. Once you are living abroad, there's no safety net. That means if you run out of money in Cambodia or Croatia or Thailand, There's no unemployment, there's no food stamps, and no family is going to come bail you out. Your best defense against the gringo tax or foreigner gouge is to know the language and negotiate, but that will take a different attitude to accomplish. We have to tell you, the only reason why we weathered the storm of the expat bubble in Ecuador is because we learned to say no thanks and walk away from the gringo tax. And that was in Spanish. Because we made it a priority to understand and learn the language. Because how else are you going to know what a price is supposed to be if you're not hearing it straight from the horse's mouth? This is a bigger deal than you think. This is why we always sort of brag about how we weathered the high velocity traffic that the Rams were perpetuating in Cuenca, Ecuador for 5 years. Because everything went up in price, not just rents. And if you're moving abroad for luxury, well, that's a trap. Expats have said on our channel that when they try to maintain a U.S. standard of living, moving into gated communities, buying the imported goods they so much love, they're just paying a tax. They are paying full U.S. prices or more due to import costs and target marketing. So the bottom line is, don't move clear across the world because you're running away. We know, the dream sounds too good to be true, and that's why so many people do it. If it sounded too difficult or too expensive, few people would do it. So go ahead. Go abroad and experience a different culture, different surroundings and languages. But remember, if you're going because you're being told that the math doesn't add up in the USA, well, now you have more information in your arsenal. That means after 2 years, you won't say, "It's not what I thought." You'll say, "It's everything I thought it would be." Because honestly, the reasons why someone moves abroad will have a direct effect on how much they interact and socialize and integrate within the local culture and actually enjoy living in their new country. Moving abroad just because it's cheap, but then living in an expat enclave, not learning the language and only eating where other expats eat, that kind of lifestyle gets boring real fast. We hope this video raises some awareness to the fact that just packing a bag and moving to a foreign country because you're having a few financial troubles here in the US is probably not necessarily sustainable for most people. But we can't stop you from trying. Here's a question for y'all. Are you moving abroad for the culture and the adventure, and you're gonna learn the language and make local relationships? Or are you moving abroad because you can't afford a house in the USA? Let us know in the comments below. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.